Now what courage? We're going to die? Maybe. I close with this. You know, brother and sister, you know a valuable lesson I learned years ago. I wasn't a Muslim. I was 12 years old, and my brother was 13 years old. We lived in Brooklyn on St. Mark's Avenue and Ralph. And this was a bad neighborhood, and they had bullies. And there was a group of bullies who used to always bully us. And one day we were in the schoolyard, and these bullies came, and we know that they were going to come after us. For some reason this day, me and my brother decided we were not going to run anymore. So what we did is we put our backs against the wall like that, me and my brother, 12 years old, 13 years old, and we put our hands like this. And we said we're not going to run. About 7 of them, 8 of them. And they came to us like they usually do. And you know what? We stood there. We stood our ground. And they started hitting us. And you know what? We hit them back. They hit us, we hit them back. And I think that day my nose was bleeding. But I think one of their nose was bleeding too. And you know what? Let me tell you something. From that day forward, they never ever touched us again. And you know why they never did? Because we stood up and we fought back. Because you stood up and you fought back. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, used to make this dua. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-jubni. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from being a coward. I'm saying to you, the only way you're going to get your city back, your street back, is you stand up and say, you are not taking over our neighborhoods. You're destroying the neighborhood, and we're not going to let it happen. But the question is, will you do it? A couple of years ago, Imam, I don't know if you remember Masjid Bilal in Richmond, Virginia. Got a call from the Imam in 1992, I think, something like that. Imam, he said, the drug dealers are threatening to shoot the Muslims. They put the word on the street, they're going to shoot the Muslims. What are we going to do? Now, I'm not trying to be a hero, but can I be honest with you? Can I tell you what we did? Now, we have law enforcement here, so I'm telling you what we did, right? Right? We got 2 busloads of brothers. 2 busloads from brothers from Masjid al-Taqwa. And some brothers drove their cars. And we drove from New York City, went down the Turnpike, and went down 95 south until we got to Richmond, Virginia. And all we did is got out of the buses and we surrounded the masjid. And all we did is walked around the masjid like that. And you know what? Those drug dealers never, ever, ever threatened the Muslims again. And all we did is we stood up. We stood up and said, you're not going to attack the Muslims, because they had to see that we had a strong brotherhood. Was that crazy? Was that crazy? Say, man, what are you talking about? We can't do that. Why not? We have to protect our community. And alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters, I say this to you. Allah blessed us. Allah protected us. And the thing that we did is that we worked with law enforcement. That's key. That's their job. But they can't do it by themselves. We have to do it with them. You know how many policemen we have in New York City? You have any idea? Over 30,000. And you know who pays their salary? We do. They work for us. The government works for us. Let us use our government effectively. Work with them to clean up the neighborhood. Finally, the way we did it isn't the real success story. Because what we did is we got rid of the supply of drugs in a particular area. The real strength is not to get rid of the supply of drugs, but to get rid of the demand for drugs. So when the drug dealers, let me tell you something about the drug dealers. Can I quote from Sun Tzu, The Art of War? Can I quote from Sun Tzu? Can I? Sun Tzu, man is bad. One of the greatest military strategists ever. 500 years BC. Ever heard of him? No. Everybody heard of him. Major corporations must read Art of War. You know what he said? He says wars are seldom won nor lost on the battlefield, but rather they are won and lost on the very plans that one makes. If you want to defeat your enemy, defeat them in their plans. And what we try to do, we try to defeat them on the battlefield. And you can't do it. We don't have weapons. I'm telling you, I don't have weapons. I'm just messing with you, man. We don't have no weapons. We don't have weapons. The weapon we have is strength, truth, courage. That's our weapons. Inshallah, I'm serious. That's our weapon. And what you got to do, brothers and sisters, remember this. And this is your key with dealing with drug dealers. Drug dealers, for all their worth, are business people. They're in it to make money. As long as they make their money, they're okay. What we did, when the New York Times newspaper, front page, had an article with the Muslims and the police closed 15 crack houses, what that did is brought attention to the area where they were selling drugs and brought light there. And people like to work in the darkness. And so when you saw Masjid al-Taqwa in 1981, the area was dark. And the drug dealers did whatever they wanted to do. You know why? Because the people let them do it. And they let them do it, and they take up our neighborhoods, and they take our children, and they put them on drugs because they want more customers. And the people, they do nothing but they cower. But what they didn't bank on was that there's some people there who will resist them. Can I tell you what Martin Luther King said?